Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
The Print Off the Cuff, presented by IIFL Wealth and Asset Management, corporate partner AU Small Finance Bank, in association with global insurance brokers, airline partner SpiceJet, in alliance with Indraprasth Apollo Hospitals.
In the last year and a half, when the pandemic raged and everybody was locked up inside their homes, there was one thing that kept people going: cinema. And today, in this episode of Off the Cuff, we have three members of the Hindi cinema fraternity who've really experimented with cinema, who belong to this bold generation that's not afraid of breaking stereotypes, that does layered, nuanced films, and yet movies that are entertaining. And they have another film coming up, as you can see, Sardar Udham. The cast and crew: Director Shujit Sarkar, actor Vicky Kaushal, producer Ronnie Lahiri. Welcome to Off the Cuff, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Shujit, let's begin with you. When you do a cinema like this, for which there is not enough material available, there are not enough people you can talk to, there is really only so much that you can rely on. How do you ensure you stay close to reality? What is the authenticity of the information, or is this a lot to do with imagination?
Cinema is also a lot about imagination. Yes, you are right that there were not many documents or information available about Sardar Udham. He was actually known. I mean, that who is Sardar Udham? Only at that particular day, in the month of March 1940, just before the Second World War, when he assassinated Sir Michael O'Dwyer. And then, since then, after that, the trial, and then he was hanged by 31st, I think, July. So it was all over. And then quite late, I think, some documents came out and they released it. Actually, they had still a lot of documents are locked in. So through that, we came to know about the court case, what kind of personality he was, what kind of thing he believed in. It's not just he was that's one killing machine that he went to just took a revenge. There were many aspects of his persona which was attached to him. He did a heroic thing, but I think that heroic thing was more of a revolutionary who was a common man, like a normal human being, like he was thinking. And he was not just thinking only about Hindustan. He was thinking about as an holistic, nature of freedom, what we call. For example, 1920, where was he? We have little information that he worked in a railway factory. Then also we know that in World War I, he served in the British Army. So these small dots we connected, and we created a persona around it. But yes, it also requires an integrity, a responsibility as a person, as a director you are, as a person who I am also, because a lot of it reflects in the cinema that you're going to see. It is an imagination, but it's stitched around the facts.
Vicky, so that's the director's dilemma. Now there is also the actor's challenge. How do you look like the character? How do you speak like the character? How do you bring the mannerisms of a character that you've not really been familiar with, you've not seen too much of? So how much of this character is Sardar Udham? How much of it is Vicky Kaushal?
I think to quantify that, I will never be able to as an actor, because an actor's journey is that of, firstly, when you begin the process, you always try and reach out to the character. But in the middle of it, somewhere the character starts reaching out to the actor, and then there's a beautiful marriage that happens. And somewhere you reach a note where you feel, okay, this is our vision of that character. In terms of the appearance, in terms of the look and cracking the look, especially since I had to play different age groups from 20 to 40, of course, there's a wonderfully skilled team that you have to take care of that and to make sure that you are looking that part. But for a film like this, being a part of Sujit Das' vision of Sardar Udham and that period of freedom struggle, my main challenge or my main task as an actor was to really internalize his state of mind, his journey of life. And since his way of execution is not really depending on the crutches of words and dialogues, he loves to really portray a lot of emotions through silences. It became all the more important to really internalize those emotions and understand that state of mind. Of course, I've had the beautiful guidance of Sujita, because Sujita and Ronnie sir both together, they have immense knowledge about that time, about these human beings who were a significant part of that time and Indian freedom struggle, because of their study, because of their research, and because of the time that they've spent with the idea of making Sardar Udham, which is amazingly, there's an uncanny parallel to the film where Sardar Udham waited for 21 years to avenge that bloodshed that happened in 1919. And here, Sujita, 21 years back, this is the film with which he came from Delhi to Bombay to make this film. And unfortunately, he didn't have the means and resources at that time to make this film and to justify this film. But 21 years later, here we are, bringing this film out. So, that longer time that they've stayed with this film, it gave me a great cushion as an actor to always fall back on, to understand or question at any point of time, question my director as to what are the possibilities that I have as an actor to explore this character. And he would always have a very precise knowledge as to how he feels, okay, Sardar Udham could be feeling this way at this particular juncture in his life. So it was for me a very enriching process as an actor to kind of explore Udham Singh, and to be very honest, that discovery for me is never ending. The filming is done, but my process of discovering Udham Singh, I think it's always going to just carry on.
So here we are, one more film that's close to a real life and real story. And to tell you all and our audience also that I became a fan of Shujit's after I saw Madras Cafe, because that's a story that I had covered for many years as a reporter. And I found it's so realistic, and so many of the big incidents there are so close to reality, including the raw officer who was compromised. That I became his admirer, and he also got me started with a occasional series that I write called First Person Second Draft. So after seeing this film, it so happened that I went to Sri Lanka and I retraced some of the stuff I had done earlier and wrote a 3 or 4 part series. After that, that series went to other stories also that I had done. So that's a work in progress. So doing cinema close to real events. And close to real events, I won't say in our generation's lifetimes, although I'm of a different generation. I'm about a bit older than all four of you. That's why I have this partition between me and all of you. But it's contemporary. 20th century is contemporary. 1940s, just the other day, right? 1940s when Don Bradman was around. And yet there is so much mythology. So how do you cut mythology from reality, and how do you still keep it interesting so it doesn't become a documentary? So, you answer it, and I think you should answer it because you're also taking pangas like these.
Yeah, you're very right. I mean, especially with this film and this character, there's a lot of folklore, mythology about Sardar Udham, the character. And as Swida had mentioned, there isn't too much of things which are there. A lot of research material we found out was from the day he assassinated till the day he was hanged. When he was in the prison, the letters he had written. But the thing is, being a history buff, what we planned was, this is what he had done. And what I read throughout was that he avenged the killing of Jallianwala Bagh, which he did, but he was not a assassin on hire. He was a way bigger revolutionary, which people don't know, because he is someone who traveled. He went to US, he worked in Africa, and then he traveled all over Europe. He came to, and one of the most important things was he had seen discrimination in all these continents. That's where his worldview came across. So that is what we want to show to our audience, that he was not just an assassin. He was a way bigger revolutionary. People talk about Che Guevara and his travels, which made him the man he was. I think this is a guy in 1930s, 20s, who traveled to Africa, who traveled to US, who traveled to Germany, Italy, UK, and he got that. So I think this is what we wanted to bring out with our film, thinking that I'm sure when he traveled, he saw all these things, and that's why he came across with this.
Well, that's interesting. And on which note, I should also introduce to you my colleagues, Ruhi Tiwari. All of you know her well. She's a familiar presence at Off the Cuff events. Our news editor, and Tina Das, one of my young colleagues, who's now going to be writing more and more about the world of entertainment, because we thought by that we can cover all the world of entertainment by covering politics, but I think there is some healthier entertainment beyond that, and that's why I'm so happy to be with you today and to be associated with this. Although I know that people always say film promotion, but हम हर तरह के फालतू film promotion में नहीं जाते. It has to be a film and filmmakers and stars that we really take seriously and who take us seriously. So thank you for being there. Vicky, these are questions you are asked all the time. That how do you get into a character? How long does it take you to get into a character? How long does it take you to get out of it?
Right.
But you are that character originally. You are a Hoshiyar from Hoshiarpur, right? You are a Punjabi. You think like a Punjabi. You walk like a Punjabi. You talk like a you are a Punjabi. So was this tougher, or was it easier? And what's it been like getting into the character and coming out of it? Because Udham Singh was not singing songs around the trees.
So being a Punjabi, what was easy for me was the advantage that I had, that I understand the culture, I understand the region where he came from. Also, the added benefit and advantage was that I grew up to these stories from my grandparents.
Sunam, isn't it?
Sunam.
Sunam,
He was
yes.
born in Sunam, yes. So I had heard about stories about Jallianwala Bagh, Udham Singh, Bhagat Singh from my parents, from my grandparents. So that familiarity was there. What was difficult, what was challenging is to actually go into his mindset, like I mentioned before. For me, that was challenging. That was, for me, was the task at hand. Okay, it is not about how I would look, how I would walk, how I would talk, because he's not a well-documented figure that you're well familiar with how his behavior was. But the task was to understand that there's a responsibility that probably if people resonate with this film, this is how they will remember the character as. This is how they will remember the freedom fighter as, the revolutionary as. That there was always a sense of responsibility on the shoulder that, you can't take it frivolously. You can't take it as, like you mentioned, a guy who is singing around trees. You had to take it very responsibly, very sensitively, and with a lot of integrity, if I may say so.
And where would you rank this film compared to other films you've done?
In terms of?
In terms of, see, even Udi to that extent
Hanji.
was closer to a real story. It was heavily fictionalized, but it
Hanji.
was closer to a real story. But where would you rank this film in terms of the films you've done, in terms of the challenge and the outcome, or your satisfaction?
I think firstly, as an opportunity, this film I would rank at the very top, because I feel that films like this, of this nature, with a visionary like Sujita, how he wants to execute that film and show that film to the world, I think it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me. As an actor, to get to portray a freedom fighter, for me is again, like I said, in terms of opportunity, it's huge. In terms of the outcome, I would say that for me, as an actor, as an individual, Vicky Kaushal, this will remain a film that I will always be very, very proud of, and I will proudly show it to my grandchildren कि यार देखो, ये तुम्हारे दादाजी ने ऐसे भी किसी पिक्चर में काम किया था.
कब हो रहे हैं grandchildren?
जब भी होंगे, but I will definitely be very proud of this film, that to just sit with them and show this film to them.
So I have one question each for both. Shrijit sir, So the kind of films you've done, from Yaha to now Sardar Udham. So, and then you had Vicky Donor, which it's a cult film on its own. You know, the way it broke barriers and the way we talked. I mean, we looked at the subject and nobody had ever thought of looking at the subject like that. I just wanted to know, how do you choose this? Because there's no way that if I look at all of the filmography and I can't say, okay, oh, I can't ever say that, okay, you know, this kind of film. So I think the only thing I can say is, okay, it's a Shujit kind of film. So what's your, you know, thought process? How do you choose a topic and then you make a film?
Like Vicky said, that he is a Punjabi, so there is an advantage to him of playing Sardar Udham Singh. So, me being a Bengali, making a film on a Punjabi culture from Vicky Donor, a lot of people ask me, you know, so for example, we were shooting in Amritsar, one of the sequences for this film. Somebody asked the guy who was getting all the other artists from the local, "Ki ye Punjabi hai?" I mean, you know, so you know, they used to ask me because तो मैं उनको बोलता था, maybe in earlier life, maybe I was born in Amritsar, possibly, who knows. So you know, it is not a deliberate attempt to get to a subject. So far, the subjects I have made, I have seen them around, experienced them, I have read it. Vicky Donor was a lot of Lajpat Nagar. Piku was a lot of a Bengali family. Madras Cafe, I have been, since my childhood, I've been reading in the newspapers what exactly have been happening in Sri Lanka, what Shekharji just said. So this one, Sardar Udham was the one which I have not seen. But yes, it affected me quite deeply when first I visited Jallianwala Bagh. And when you go there, you know, if you're really, you know, if you're sensitive enough, it will, you know, make you numb. And then I don't know what happened. And since that first visit in 1999, I kept on visiting. And I kept on, I couldn't get over it. And then I started thinking about it, working about it. Then it attracted me somehow. You know, so I could not avoid it from my system, that what happened. And when you see and stand in front of the wall. So in one of the, just quickly, in one of the event, I know it was the 13th April, again the Baisakhi event. So they celebrate, you know. So it may be 2000 or 2001, I'm just forgetting. But so I went on that day. And on that day, it's a Baisakhi day, all through the day, something goes on there. At that time, it was not that elaborate function and all, but, you know, just some people will come and pray. So, you know, I was sitting at one corner on the wall and I saw that few people, youngsters, were getting there very old, absolutely, maybe 90-year-old, 95-year-old. They were coming here, somewhere coming in a wheelchair. So they couldn't speak, somewhere really not well also, healthy. They would go to one corner on the wall and they're sitting there possibly. So then they asked them, will you get up, you know. One of them was crying there on the wall. So then I could figure out, I started, you know, inquiring. I could figure out that they must be some of the possible survivors, or must be associated with the family or somebody. So that has a very deep effect in me. You know, I was really also personally also in tears seeing that, you know, that kind of families coming there. And that's how the germination of this I'll make a film or not, I didn't know at that time, but it impacted me. So and it then you know, went on making a film. So it's not deliberate that the genres that I have gone and jumped, it's just what had impacted me, I made into a film.
Vicky, again, your journey from Masan to here. You've played characters which somehow resonate a lot with the public. I mean, I know you've had a Netflix film as well earlier, and you've done the typical Bollywood romance as well. But in recent times, that I can think that you've worked in 2 biopics now, right? Sanju and then Sardar Udham. So what's the, like, how do you see it? Like, in a very short span of time, you've worked in 2 biopics, and they're very different biopics, of course. So how has the journey generally been like from Masan to now? Because you're again playing these characters which are drawn every time from real life, people who've either from inspired by real people or from events that have happened. So that journey, and also the difference in the 2 biopics, one which has also won you a national award there. So, how does it, what's the difference? How does it play out when you're preparing for your character, let's say, or all of the characters that you've played?
In terms of my journey as an actor in the industry, since my first release in 2014, I think the journey started with me getting selected. In the first half, I would say कि I was getting selected on the basis of screen tests. Then I kind of thoda sa promotion hua, and then I could. I was not asked for screen tests, and then it would just be a meeting, and then if we are matching, like if we are coming onto the same frequency, then we would collaborate and all. So I mean, of course, with every film, more and more significant doors have started to open up, and it's been a journey which I can say that I've climbed like each step of the ladder, which I feel very grateful of. As In terms of films, of course, it's a deliberate quest that I take up films and characters which are different from each other. The world is slightly different from each other, so that I remain stimulated as an artist to explore myself as an actor in every process. The beautiful part about this is that you, in each film, in each story, for each character, you have to completely surrender to the vision of the director. It is a director's medium. So in that, what I started to notice is that I am probably getting the chance to evolve as an individual, where my horizons of understanding are getting stretched with every film, with every, because I'm getting to play different perceptions all the time. Because no matter what I believe as Vicky Kaushal, once I sign up to play that character, I need to believe in his or her point of view, his point of view, correct? So in that, I sometimes get to know that, okay, there's another side to the coin, there's another side to this. So, and that for me is a very, it's an evolving process in the most beautiful way. So as an actor, it's to answer your question in terms of my choices. Yes, it's deliberate to kind of keep exploring different genres, different characters, even if it's the same profession. Like for instance, Uri was about military, and my next film would be about a biopic on Sam Manekshaw. So that's also military, but still there would be something that would make me feel ki, oh wow, I want to explore this emotion. I want to explore this side of the story, and that's why I would sign up for that. In terms of biopic, it definitely comes, the major difference in a biopic and a completely fiction film would be that a biopic has a much stronger fence around the playground that you're playing, because you can't just go all over the place and be random in terms of your depiction of the character. In terms of, if I have to talk about Sanju or Sardar Udham, both the characters that I played at least didn't have the limitation that those were well documented in terms of the behavior part of it, that people are aware of how he used to walk or talk, or have to talk in a way or walk in a way, or in terms of behavior. So there used to be a little freedom where it's not about that. Probably in the next film that I mentioned, it won't be there, because that figure is a very well documented figure. But it changes. It depends from film to film, from character to character, from the vision of the director. So but biopic, like I said, in terms of the broader strokes, it comes with a much stronger fence than a fiction story.
Ronnie, so as a viewer, I always wonder, when you watch a film, you're always like, ab next kya hoga? You never know what's going to happen. You don't know what the script is. But in terms of biopics, there is always a predictability factor. You know what's going to happen next. You know what's going to happen to Sanjay Dutt or Mary Kom or Dhoni. As a producer, how challenging is it to ensure that the movie still remains engaging and audiences still want to watch it instead of just, reading about the person on Wikipedia?
You mentioned Wikipedia, that I was about to say that. So, yeah, so our film's research is not limited to that one page of Wikipedia. So that's where there are way more layers.
WIKI.
Yeah. So that's why there are much more layers. Of course, it was a very straightforward choice if we had to make that. Okay, this is the day this happened, Jallianwala. This is the day he decided I'll take revenge, and he traveled and he did. I mean, on a normal, for audience, this is what they will expect. But that is not what we wanted to do. We wanted to do as both of them have spoken, we wanted to get into his head. So it's not a linear story where you would. So we are going to challenge the audience. They will think that they know everything, that this is what's going to happen next. But that is the beauty that there
But
will
I
be
can
something
tell you,
else.
I can guarantee to you that most of today's audience does not know everything there is to know about Udham Singh. They know that Udham Singh was somebody who who assassinated somebody to take
Yeah.
revenge for something,
Absolutely.
right? But
Even
if
the difference between the Toyer and
And
Dyer,
Dyer.
a lot of people don't
yes,
know.
yes. So if you went to even a graduate class, I think most people will not connect the dots. So to that extent, it will not be so predictable.
Yeah.
Bhagat Singh's story might be more predictable.
Yeah.
So Bhagat Singh's been
Absolutely.
done more often. But this guy in the middle of the two of you, is he designed for biopic star? You know why? Because he does look for real. Because all the other film stars I see these days, men and women, they have the same biceps, they have the same eyes, they have the same teeth, right? They have the same smiles, and they have the same dance moves. And frankly, I can't tell one from the other. And I keep confusing them on flights also.
Good, Shekharji, that you voiced out very clearly, and we understand that.
Very, very clearly.
Yeah, and yeah. So, of course, that one factor why Vicky, came on board. Of course, Vicky also showed an interest to join hands with us, and we were working on this film. And before Vicky, it was actually Irfan Khan who was supposed to be playing Sardar Udham. And then, of course, what happened? So then we met a couple of times, in my office. So, and when we live with a character, you want to see something, some vibrations, connect, where you think that what can he do, what cannot, and can't be done with him. But one, of course, was that focus, passion that you have, not just that you have signed a film and you will do it, okay, and you want to work with Sujita, no. But I think you have to have something in you. Otherwise, whatever we are visualizing or we want to do it, it will not receive. Your head won't receive. It will not receive. That receiver is very important, because finally, I am behind the camera. Whatever people are seeing is him. So he has to enact what we have been thinking all this while. But the kind of age, the kind of look. See, in terms of look and authenticity, that's not too much bother to me, because I think more important is the Sardar Udham's the nuanced philosophical ethos that he had in him. I think that should be right. So that was most important. And he was ready to do it. So I think once he was ready to do it, and once we saw that no, he has that, and that Punjabiyat, of course. So I think all mixed together, he became the actor for this biopic.
Ronnie, same question.
Feel like I'm in a parent teacher association. बच्चा पढ़ाई कर रहा है, ठीक है.
No, I think one thing very important was when he came. I mean, he's a real guy. I mean, not somebody who. So when we discussed and we were talking to him, he was talking like a regular person and who knew something about the project. And there was a level of passion and something which, I mean, what a job of a producer, I would say, is to hire the right kind of people who are all passionate towards the project. It should not be like a project. He didn't take it up as, okay, this is one new film I'm doing. He was passionate about the subject. He wanted to explore himself as an actor. So I think these were some important factors and of course, being from Punjab definitely helped. I mean, at least the way they talk and also it makes it more believable. I mean, that way.
Yeah, I think you got as close as possible to the exact village, in fact.
Okay, so we do have a few questions from some of our subscribers. They've been kind enough to send questions for all of you. Let's take this one from Dr. Dinakar, and I'm taking this one because I think all of you can answer this, and it's something everybody's curious about. As the biggest film industry in the world, don't you think that we should have an independent movie award that is credible, if not more credible than the Oscars? If yes, how optimistic are you that such an award will come into being? Because there's so much talk about how all the awards are, well, for the lack of a better word, rigged. Shadi, let's begin with you and then move to.
Um, yeah, I mean, yes, we should have, but I think it depends how the jury is. I think everything is boils down to the jury, you know, and the IQ of jury too.
And also how free the jury is.
Yeah, so it's constituting an award is not a problem. I think the jury, how aware of cinema they are, how open they are. I think that's important. The acceptability also. Lots of jury are closed, you know, in terms of their headspace. That what they have seen and believe that is it. So I think it depends on that, you know. But yes, of course, what he said is right. We should have. Why not?
See, I'm relatively very young in the industry to kind of have a very wise, a response to this question. But in my limited knowledge, I would say that being a host to those award shows and been an audience to those award shows and everything, I would say that somewhere if we can somehow crack through the vicious circle of packaging the award shows in a certain way, क्योंकि when I'm hosting it तब ये होता है कि अरे यार audience को तो ये देखना पसंद है टीवी पे, तो let's package it in that way. अब जब audience है कि if they are also really in that space कि नहीं हमें तो यार we want a perfect combination of dance, music, hosting, awards, this, that, glamour, so somewhere we'll have to crack outside that vicious circle and fall on a plane where we are all together in terms of keeping it genuine, in terms of keeping it to the point, in terms of keeping it real, in terms of really getting out of the pressure of TRPs and really concentrating that we have to keep it genuine and really make it a global level, you know, that kind of an award show or award, let's not call it a show, but a platform where you kind of celebrate cinema, celebrate the best of the work that happened in that particular year. Of course, it's easier said than done, and with my limited years in the industry, I have no clue how to make that happen. But I guess if I have to answer that question,
I think the first step, what Vicky just said, first step is the day we stop treating it as a award show. Let it become an award firstly, and jury obviously has to be free. At the same time, when you mentioned about Oscars and all, honestly speaking, there the word is, instead of rigged, you said it's a much more sophisticated word, lobbying. That also happens over there. So it's the Oscars also nothing which is you can look up to. So I think somewhere down the line, let's look inside our own industry, and we should have a award which is done within the industry, and forget the show or something behind it. Somewhere we should celebrate excellence. Overall in India, I feel, not just our industry, we have got into this rut of celebrating mediocrity. And we just are happy with one medium level thing, something which has happened, and we just go, wow, this is it. Why can't we push the ceiling and in the right way? Because jumping 1 feet is not pushing the ceiling, and we celebrate that. So let's actually push ourselves to push the ceiling. That is the day we'll, I think, be in a position to curate good product.
This one is again a subscriber question. This is from Anmol, and he belongs to Udham Singh Nagar of Uttarakhand. And he says, I would like to ask Sujit regarding his views if Udham Singh's story is being ignored in Indian independence history because it is largely believed to be of personal revenge rather than an act to seek India's independence. So, if you would like to comment on that.
I think the answer is the film itself. What he's asking, he's touched upon and absolutely nailed it in terms of his question. So I think I would be, you know, in a much comfortable situation to answer or talk to him in discussion if he has seen the film. You know, that makes easy, because no point talking, because that's this film is all about.
Just to add to what you people said about film awards, you know, having dealt with one for a long time, I can tell you that unless you completely divorce them from a TV show, the pressures of
Correct.
a TV show and sponsors, and and which award show got a larger audience. Until then, you can't have. So you people have to set up an academy in India, which is independent of all this. So
Right.
so
Absolutely.
that is a problematic thing. But tell me something. It's a trick question. Do people pay for film reviews? Do people have to pay for film reviews these days?
The films I do are normally, most of them are, some are liked, most of them are not liked. So I'm used to it. So I'm quite used to it. I don't know. I mean, we have not done that practice at all. So we don't know what goes on in the industry because most importantly, me and Ronnie both don't live there. So we mostly, I live in Kolkata, he lives in Goa. So we just go and work, make the film and release and move out. So I don't know.
Me? I have no clue how this works. I join the party too late and get out of the party too early. I have really no clue how this works.
I think we're too small a fish for anyone to approach us also in case something like that happens. Firstly, we come out with one film once in 2 years, and we don't come out with these big blockbuster kind of films. We make our kind of films, which has their own kind of critics who don't like and some like. And as he said, we just come to Bombay, we make our films and disappear. We don't even live there to socialize or anything. So, from my point of view, I've never indulged in anything of
But you
that
know,
sort.
in the OTT world now and in the social, whatever this digital world, everybody is a reviewer now. So
That's
that's not
right.
a no, everybody reviews. So I think that's a good thing, you know. And they can review and debate. And sometimes on the digital platform, one reviewer bashes the other reviewer. So I'm also okay. They are fighting themselves also. so I think it's a good time.
Okay, this is because we are discussing a biopic. It's Akshay, he's a student who says, why is there this pattern of biopics in the industry? Is the film industry running out of ideas now?
Good question, Akshat. Uh, Somebody told me that there's a surge of biopics in the film industry. Are you also? This is also. I said, I am not in that surge. I mean, it was there for me, with me, and I wanted to make this. I also wanted to make a film on Shahid Bhagat Singh, but then at that time also there was a surge of 2, 3 films coming together. Running out of ideas, our Hindi film industry, there's been for quite some time, not now. So, since the golden period is gone from the Mrinal Sen or the Satyajit Rays or Shyam Benegal, since then there has been a dearth of ideas. And repeating of ideas has been there. So I think Hindi film industry really needs to evolve. And because I think the golden period is gone. Some of the best of the cinema is all over. We are at the periphery trying to do something, you know, in terms of the storytelling. I think some of the best cinema, even if you release Shyam Benegal, Mrinal Sen, Tapan Sinha, Sai Paranjpai, Govind Nilani, all their film, you know. I don't think today's generation has seen Do Biga Zameen. It is as contemporary, as relevant today. So, yeah, I mean, it's we need to really evolve and have some strong storytelling.
So why do you say golden era is over? You don't believe that a new golden you don't believe a new golden era can come?
Yes, it can, but I think we have not seen that kind of surge of some really some beautiful, brilliant poetry, you know, in terms of cinema. We somehow have gone into mass production, and also you can say a mad rush. And whenever there is a mad rush, you know you're going to spoil things. You need to calm down.
All right, so very real actor with two very real filmmakers who all three of them say they have no clue how movie reviews work and they have no clue how award functions work. Shujit also says he believes the really good age of Hindi cinema is over, but we do believe that all three of them have a lot of good cinema left in them. So all the best to you for the future years and for this movie, and it was a pleasure hosting.